Okay, good. So when you first obviously get into haiku, and like I said the other day, when we had that first Google Hangout, down the left-hand side are your modules. You don't see all of these modules right now because only 1 through 3 have opened up for you, so you're not seeing the rest of them. But the modules are always from the left-hand side, and then as you click on one of the modules, in the middle right here is the content for that module, as far as um, the information that I brought forward from the textbook here to help clarify. I had a question from Diana, FYI, about saving the textbook pages you can print and save as PDF. Yes, that's good. Okay, so, and at the very top, I will always have the due date so that you can see that right away. You can see that you have 3 assignments and when those due dates are. And because of today and, haiku being down, do not panic over not getting things turned in today. If you can get them in tomorrow, fabulous. And then this is your link to your textbook, which takes you out to another website. Okay, so does anybody have any questions about the discussion forum? I think if I remember correctly, I was looking through it and we have a few people who haven't responded, but on the discussion forum, and let me go ahead and click into it. In the discussion forum, you're going to click new post when you're creating your first initial post for your discussion, and then you'll go ahead and you'll have a text. Let me go ahead and click new post. You'll have a title that you can put there, and then you go ahead and you just type in that area and post. For the discussions, this is where we have that interactivity between each one of you. And so it's really helpful if you can post your discussion here in the discussion area, and instead of, I know Michael, I think you did this, you put it on your blog. It's okay to be on your blog, but it's hard for us to have the discussion when we're going out someplace else and coming back in to be able to respond to each other. So if you can also like copy and paste it, the text of it into the discussion post, that would be fabulous. And then we're able to reply a little bit easier to each other. And the other thing is, because it is a discussion, we want you to answer the prompt completely, but how do I put this nicely? Don't write a dissertation. Nobody did that this time, except for it's kind of hard on this first one because this first one really is sort of a lengthy one. Most of the discussions going forward are a little bit better as far as, you can write succinctly. You want to keep it, you don't want to have 2 and 3 pages because that's hard for people to read. You want to make sure you get to the point and that you do address all the elements of the prompt. And then you're going to make sure that you always go back and reply to at least 2 people. So if you haven't replied to 2 people, you want to make sure you go back and reply to at least 2 other colleagues in the course. I'm going to go ahead and click out of that one. And there we go. Okay, and it looks like maybe 1 or 2 people have posted since I looked at this stuff today. So that's your discussion area. Like I said, it looked like most people had that down, so there wasn't any problem with that. In the, I'm going to skip down to the reflection, and then I'm going to go to the wiki project, which may have caused some people some problems. Okay, in the discussion, you're doing the same thing. Okay, you're clicking down here on the discussion link, and then again, you're clicking new post, and you're writing your discussion. You do not have to respond to anybody in the discussion. You may, if you'd like to. And sometimes, you read what people have to say and you want to reply to the discussion, and that's fine. But you don't have to reply to the discussion. I read the discussion post. I make sure you've met all the elements of that reflection, and then I go ahead and I give you a passing score based on that. I mean, you really have to miss the mark completely for me not to pass you on that, because this is a reflection. Did anybody have a question on that? No, on that, so it's confusing because it says to you discussion up here, but if you take a look down here, it's reflection. So because it is a reflection, you do not have to respond to anybody. Okay, So it's always the point ones are discussion and the point threes are reflections, if that helps you out also. But I've created it in what Haiku calls their discussion forum. And the reason I do that is because I think it's valuable for you to read what other people have written instead of you just turning it all into me and nobody else, is able to take advantage of the knowledge of everybody in the collective group. So the discussion forum allows me to be able to do that and have everybody share it out. Okay? Now for the part that people may have had some problems with. This is your main activity for the module, your portfolio assignment. This assignment is going to be transferred over into your final portfolio at the end of the course. So I always have basically the instructions that are in the textbook here. I will usually have a link to some extra resources that I've created for you. And then I might have some more information about that. And here I happen to have had actually a little video that kind of walked you through wiki projects that may or may not have helped you out. So when I click on here, again, you see the instructions up there. And as I go down, I can see everybody and I'm not sure how it looks on your side. Does it look like this on your side? Where you see everybody, you see the green lights or the red light? Okay, the green light means somebody, doesn't necessarily mean they've completed their project, but they've started their project, okay? I always have to go in to look to see if you've completed it, because once you basically access it, it turns to green, okay? And so I'm gonna go into Claudia's, and because she's not gonna be an active member in our class, she's just sort of following the class because there's several people from her school district that are in this course. So I'm going to go ahead and use hers as my guinea pig page to be able to show you what to do. So when I click on here, it should have said immediately to begin your project, and that's always the first time it will say that. And then the first thing you're going to do is you've gone off. It said to create a Venn diagram in a Web 2.0 tool. So you went off to some Web 2.0 tool that I had listed on that module resources page, and you created a Venn diagram, okay? Because you created a Venn diagram using a Web 2.0 tool, it means that it means that it lives online, you can revise it online, and you can share it online. So now that I've created it, and I'm going to go over here to one that I created quickly this afternoon, I used Google Draw to create a Venn diagram. Okay, so as I said, it lives online, I can revise it online, and I can share it online. So the first thing I need to do is I need to make sure that I made it public, viewable, shareable, whatever the terminology is for that particular Web 2.0 tool. And in Google, I know that it's the share button in the upper right. And so I go over there and I click this Get Shareable link, and it says anyone with the link can view. Now, if you're in a Google, if your district has a Google domain, you may have a couple of different things down here that say your school district name, and then you have to click this other little button that says more so that you can get to this anyone with the link, because if you share it just within your district, I can't see it, nor will anybody else who's not in your district in the class see it. So that's for those of you who may have a Google domain at your school site. So anyways, here's the link. I'm going to copy the link, and I'm going to go ahead and say done. Then I'm going to come back over here to Haiku, okay? And I'm going to add a content block, and I'm going to add a web link. I give it a name. I'm just going to call this Venn diagram. And right down here, because I'm doing a web link, right down here it says links. So what I need to do, and this winds up being a problem for some people, delete that HTTP that's there, because what will happen is when you paste it in, you're going to get two of those, and sometimes people don't notice that, and then we can't actually link to it. So I'm going to paste my link there, and I'm going to double check it by scrolling back. Yeah, okay, I've only got one HTTP. I give it a label, and I can click Save. Whoops, I forgot to tell this where I wanted it to go. I want it to go in the middle. You can drag these around. I don't know if you knew that. You can drag these around. So I want this to go in the middle section. It automatically populated to the right because I probably had that defaulted. Notice here's my Venn diagram. When I click on this, it takes me out and opens me up into that diagram that I created. Okay, I'm going to go back to Haiku. Another way that I could have done this is I could have gone content block, text on page. Again, I'm going to call this my Venn diagram. And I can type some text here. Here is a link to my Venn, oops, spell right, diagram. I'm going to highlight the word link, and this chain you will see in a lot of different places, and it means that you are creating a link. So I'm going to click on that link. I'm going to check website because I'm linking to a website. Come down here, paste in my link, say OK, and now I'm going to go back here to block placement. Yeah, I want this placed in the middle there. There we go. Hit save, and here is a link. You notice that's a hyperlinked word now to my Venn diagram. Again, when I click here, it'll take me to the diagram. So there's two different ways to do a link. Okay? You'll choose this way if you're going to be putting some more text in there. You know, if you're just providing a link, then you may want to do it this way, even though that the other way also allowed me to add some text. Okay, so you're going to link to your diagram. The other thing you're going to do is you're going to embed your diagram. Now, there are a few tools that don't embed nicely in here. If you created, let me see, I think if you created your Venn diagram in a Creately, it doesn't play nice with Haiku. You know, if it takes you more than 5-10 minutes to try to embed, let me put it away, send me an email, tell me exactly what you're trying to do, and I'll let you know. Oh, forget it, don't even try, just give me the link, you're fine, that tool causes problems, or I'll send you instructions on how to do it. So, how do I embed? Well, the first thing I need to do when I'm going to embed is I got to get an embed code. That's different than a link. A link is what I have right here or what I have right here, and it takes me to a website. Embed means I'm going to see my diagram right here on this page. I'm bringing the web to this particular page. So let me go back to my Venn diagram. I happen to know that when I'm using any Google Doc, whether it be a Google Doc, a Google presentation, or a Google drawing, I need to publish. So I go over here to File, Publish to the Web, and then it would have said Publish would have been dark blue, and I would have clicked Publish. And I'm going to change this size because I think I want a small one. Okay, there we go. I'm publishing. It gives me a link. I don't want that link. That's a publish link. I like the other link better. I'm going to go over here. There's a word embed. Now it's giving me, oops, let me go back. It keeps defaulting to medium. I want small. Okay, it gives me this funny looking code. Copy it. I now have the embed code because it says embed there and it's giving me a code down here. I am going to go back to Haiku. And you know what I'm going to do? Instead of adding a new text block, actually, no, I'm going to do this. I'm going to add a text block and I'm going to embed the web. Click on embed the web. And right here in this space where in gray you can hardly see it, it says paste your code here. I'm going to paste my code right there. I'm going to say next. It can't find a widget for that code. I'm going to say OK. I have to give it a title. Venn diagram. I'll say embedded so you know the difference. There we go. Block placement, where is it going? Okay, it's going to go in the top middle. That's good. If I wanted to look at the code, there it is down there. That's where I pasted in here. I could type something in here if I'd like. I'm just going to go ahead and hit save. And there's my Venn diagram in there. Now I am going to ask you that, me see, I can make this a little bit longer. There you go. I'm going to ask you that when you embed, that you also have a link. Why is that? Because sometimes the embed winds up being a lot smaller, and especially if you have a lot of words on there, it's kind of hard to read. And so I like to look at it full screen. And so if you have a link, I can see here, I can get a quick glance at your diagram, but maybe I want to take a closer look at it, so I can click on the link and take a closer look at it. Okay, so that's the reason why I asked for both to be done. A lot of information. Do you have any questions? You know, delete. And so if she wanted to delete one, she would just have to click delete, and you can delete the extra stuff that you wind up having on your page. The other thing about your page, and let me go back to the one that I was doing, Claudia's. All of mine, I didn't create a new page. I could have created new pages if I wanted to. I kept it all on this first page, and it is because I see those little orange circles right there, I know that the page is published. And I look over here and it says unpublished, so that means that it's been published. If the word publish was over here, then I would know that my page was not viewable to anybody else in the classroom, and I would need to publish my page. Okay? And then remember on the Venn diagram, and I put mine right on my my graphic. And I'll show the graphic. Whoops. Full screen. You have to have some sort of description. I was real brief on mine. Some sort of description that describes the diagram. All right. So make sure that you have details again in here. You know, what's the difference in the learning? If you're doing like this one here is just face-to-face and blended, what's the difference in the pedagogy and the type of assessments that you're doing and this type of assignments students are doing? You know, between each one of them, you know, what is specific to face-to-face, what's specific to blended learning, what is an overlap between them, you know, think about those types of things to get in a little bit more detail. You may have been, okay, I'll go back and look at it in a few minutes, okay. Make sure you label each one of the circles so that we know what they are. You may have a 2-circle Venn diagram, you might have a 3-circle Venn diagram, you might have online learning as one of the other circles. You could have just face-to-face and online learning as your 2 circles. That was your choice as to how you wanted to do your Venn diagram. Okay? All right. Any other questions about Module 2? There was a lot of learning in Module 2 with all those different profiles from the Next Generation Learning Grants and from the Clay Christensen Blended Learning Universe. Oh, thank you. I'm always glad to know that it actually is helpful to people. These are, I finally, it took me 2 years into teaching this course online before I started creating these documents. I was writing back to people as they would tell me they were having problems, but I try to do that, you know, depending on what the assignment is asking for. Like this one here was asking for a graphic organizer, and so based on what people have done, you know, I try to create some help documents to show you how to grab that embed code, how to grab that link. Some of the documents will even show this is how you do it in Haiku versus this is how you're going to do it in the Google Sites when you go to embed it into your portfolio at the end. So, and the problem is that sometimes these things change. So whenever you see something that you look at and you go, those instructions don't match, let me know, because the Web 2.0 tool may have made a complete change and I'll need to know that I need to redo it again. Oh, thank you. I'm glad it was helpful. Okay. Well, what I do want to do is, and I'm looking at it's already 6:36. Time goes by fast. Is I want to take a quick look at Module 3. Okay. This is a module that opens up. Well, I mean, I've already opened it up for you, but it actually begins tomorrow. I have a little introductory video here. I try to use some different tools myself from time to time, just so you can see how other tools are used. So this little video was created using a Web 2.0 tool called, I don't know if it's Move Note or Movie Note. I'm not sure how they pronounce it there. But you're able to get a little video of yourself, and I'll just go ahead. I'm sure you guys have taken a look at it already. Oh, where is it? Okay, for some reason it's not showing, maybe because I've got too many things going on here. You should be seeing an embedded presentation in the background with that. Oh, I think I'm just slow here. Advertisement. Oh, darn it. I hate it when they do advertisements. Sorry about this. I have to wait for the advertisement. Come on, come on, come on. Go. Okay, there you go. This allows you to actually, let me stop it. This actually allows you to create a presentation that you're showing on the side, as well as having that visual presence, which is something that you want to take a look at when you're in an online course or a blended course. Having a variety of ways that you can connect with your students. Not only that, I've seen a lot of great projects that people have done with their students using this particular program, where students have been able to create presentations this way. So that's just the introduction, and I could have swore it was working within here, but it could be that I've got too many things going on right now. I'll check it when we're done here. But in Module 3, we're taking a look at pedagogy. And what we're really going to be taking a look at here is we're going to be taking a look at Bloom's taxonomy and the use of Web 2.0 tools to be able to reach different levels along Bloom's taxonomy for your learning outcomes. In the discussion, you're going to actually watch a video. I believe it's it's a video on project-based learning. You're going to take a look at that particular video and then think about how are some ways that you could transfer that type of an activity into an online or a blended environment, and then talk about some of the problems you think that might be imposed when you're making that conversion. I'm going to skip down to the reflection again. And in the reflection, you're going to think about an activity that you can use in your classroom where you might use a Web 2.0 tool. And, what would that look like to students? What kinds of outcomes might students have? How is it going to be tied to your curriculum objectives? Things of that sort. And what you're going to do is you're going to, in your reflection, briefly describe an activity that you can create, or one that you already do. State how you might minimize possible challenges that both the student or the teacher might have to address, and then align your activity to a learning objective that uses the verb at the top 3 levels of Bloom's taxonomy. So you want to make sure that you're putting a learning objective with that states that students are analyzing or evaluating or creating, and try not to just demonstrate or showing knowledge of. You want to reach for those higher levels of Bloom's taxonomy. A big assignment here is your collaborative presentation on Web 2.0 tools. So what you're going to do here is I've got you assigned to groups. Let me go ahead and click into the project. I've got you assigned into groups, and somebody's going to need to take the lead to begin the Google presentation, and make sure that they share with editing rights to the other people in the group so that everybody will have access to that Google presentation. What you're going to do is your presentation, I'm going to go ahead and zip through that, is going to, let me scroll back. You're going to be showcasing Web 2.0 tools that can be used to support student learning in the curriculum, okay? Each person is going to create 1 to 3 slides. The slides you will choose a Web 2.0 tool. You're going to make sure that you have a link to that tool. Grab a little image of the logo for that tool. Make sure that your name's on the slide. You're going to create a student sample using that tool, something that you think your students could do. You're going to tie that student sample to some level of Bloom's taxonomy. You know, what would students be doing here if they were going to be creating this particular project? You know, what levels of Bloom's taxonomy do you think this tool could be used for? And then if possible, state an applicable standard. It kind of depends on what you're teaching on that. And then tell how the Web 2.0 tool could be used to support student learning. And let me pull this up full screen here because okay, let me click to I have provided for you some resources. There is a thing link that I provided for you that has a list of different Web 2.0 tools that you'll want to take a look at, along with several other links to places where they have suggestions for Web 2.0 tools and using them at different levels of Bloom's taxonomy. Here is a sample of what a project might look like, okay? I used VoiceThread. So I've got the title, you know, of the Web 2.0 tool. I've got a link to the Web 2.0 tool. I grabbed an image of it. I have a brief description of the tool here. Keep it brief. Don't be real wordy. Think about good, proper presentation on slides. Okay, my next slide here says, how does this tool support student learning? And so I've kind of stated that, you know, it supports student learning by allowing students to analyze and evaluate. Obviously, this depends on the assignment as to what level of cognition the students would be working at. Oops, sorry about that. And again, some more information there about that. So, like what they could do, students can analyze or evaluate poems, art, historical documents, essays, and more. And then my student sample, I actually gave you a link to a student sample, and I'm stating that this student sample, I might tie it to Anchor Standard number 6, you know, use technology, including the internet, to produce and publish writing, to interact and collaborate with others. And then I'm stating that this student sample is a digital story that analyzes an injustice corrected, you know, 50 years later. So I'm analyzing, so I'm trying to work at a higher level. Do remember, what you want students to do will determine the level of what their learning outcome is. So if I'm having them create a voice thread, I am not having them work at a level of creating. They're not, and if the voice thread only shows me where they're telling me their vocabulary words, you know, they're not doing anything at a very high level. So think about that when you're thinking about, because I get this all the time. People say, oh, I'm having them use comic beliefs and creating a comic. But when I take a look at the information in the comic, they're telling me about something. So their students are not really working at a level of creation. Yeah, they created a product, but I could have created that product by drawing it with paper and pencil. But what was the outcome of what I was asking them to do? I was asking them to only tell me information or show me that they had a basic understanding of information. So think about that, because I will be going back and asking you those kinds of questions when I take a look at your projects. Okay? Anybody have any questions on that, or did I make things confusing, or is it understandable what I'm asking? Okay. I always stress point on this because I get so many people who, you know, because they're using Voki or they're using VoiceThread or they're using GoAnimate to create something, they think the students are working at a level of creation. When you look at the product, there was nothing new that the student created. They didn't take a concept and create something new out of that concept of learning. Oh, good. Good. Then I'm going to see fabulous projects from you guys, right? No, I spread everybody out so they have to work with new people. Because I have a whole group from Galton and then I have the whole group from Making Waves. So I got you all on different teams. Well, see, you're going to have to deliver that awesomeness to others, okay? Okay. So All right. So what's going to happen then is each person will have three, 1 to 3 slides. I really doubt you could do it in one slide, but 1 to 3 slides per person on one, and each person is doing one Web 2.0 tool. And so you want to make sure that the presentation is shared with editing rights to each person in the group. But I also want you to make sure that when you share it, that instead of, so you're going to put people's names down here where you're going to put their email addresses. And I'll show you in Haiku where you can go and email each other and find out what email address they want tied to their Google presentation. But overall, I want the presentation shared to anybody so that they can comment. This allows me to go in and make comments on your slides, or anybody else in our class to make a comment on your slides. Because, and I'm not going to do it to this one because I don't want comments on this one, because after you've created your presentation, then you're going to go back and just within your own group, you're going to comment on each other's slides, okay? And the comment is, it's the comment tool up here where you say add comment. And then it creates a little block over on the side and you type and post, okay? Sure. Yes. Nope. You're each doing a different one. Yeah, and if we're lucky, we might have, what do we have, 12, 11 people in the class? If we're lucky, we're going to have 11 different tools between 3 presentations. So that means you're going to be able to see what can be done with several different tools. So that's the advantage for you. Exactly. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. That's so it's really not a collaborative assignment where you're kind of working towards the same goal. It's collaborative in terms of you've got one presentation, but you're each working independently on your own on that presentation. And then you're commenting on each other's. Okay. All right. And then, like I said, over here on the side here, I have several different Web 2.0 several different links for Bloom's taxonomy, as well as on, I think I have a module 3 help document also. But there are some really great resources that I've linked to. So you can go and take a look at a variety of Web 2.0 tools. Trying to take a look, see what I have here. Oh, this is the thing link that I created. This is a great tool. And it's like I put, different Web 2.0 tools that you can link to here. But just because I say that they belong on, like these are analyzing, again, it depends on what you're doing with the tool as to where, where it really lands. Because I can take any of these tools and have students be working at a lower level of Bloom's or have them working at a higher level of Bloom's based on my objective that I have and what my learning outcome is. Here's another one that has a list of some more tools. There's one really good one. I'm trying to remember what the name of it is that is really worth looking at. This one here is a whole website that has, oh my God, almost too much information, but it's fabulous. Oh, that's mine. That's just another document that talks about it. Shoot, I can't remember the name of the one that I want. Maybe it's on the document instead. Let me go back up to, there's one that I really, really, really like as far as helping you to think about projects. But I can never remember the name of that tool because there's just too many, Oh, I think it's this very top one on my document here. Let me see. Yes, this one. I love this one. You click into this and say, okay, I'm looking for evaluating. Okay, here's your roles as a teacher. Here are some things that the student would think about doing. Skills that can be used to demonstrate, And I always love my list of verbs. And then here's some sample questions you might ask. And then down at the bottom, possible projects. So if you're really trying to think outside the box and do something different because you kind of get in a rut doing the same old, this one here might spark some new ideas. And Michael, your question, do you want the reflections to be posted within Haiku or a link? The link is great for the reflections because we're not requiring that people respond to you. And so, you know, your blog will be something that you'll be able to embed into the your Google site at the end, which will be your portfolio. So that's perfect. Yeah, so this, I love this particular site. So, okay. Any questions? I kind of threw a lot at you. I have Snagit running in the background where I'm trying to record this screen. I don't know if it will work. I've never tried that in a Google Hangout before, but because I didn't set this up as a Google Hangout on Air, the Hangout itself wasn't being recorded. So if what I did over here was recorded, then I will take it, do some editing with it, and post it in the course. And if it didn't work out, then you won't see it. Yes. The Haiku, you will have access to until I think the end of August is when I have that one set up for. But anything that I gave you, like this Module 3 resources links, things of that sort, just you can either copy them. So I have this open someplace. Now I've got too many tabs open. You can either go File and make a copy, and then you'd have your own copy of it for your own use. Or you can do, oh, sorry, my son just walked up to the front window and the dog's barking. Scared me because I didn't expect that. There's a folder right here. So if you take the folder and you organize this into a folder in your Google Drive, then if I update this page, you will have updates to that page. I have it as a view only for you guys, so you can't add anything to it because it's something that I'm using obviously with all my classes, but you would be able to see any updates that I make to this page. So there's two different ways that you can handle these pages if you like them, if they're of any value to you. And then the well, yeah, and like I said, the textbook, and I'm almost finished with it because I've been the lead on this. We've almost got it converted over to a Google site, and once it's in a Google site, it will be an open URL that anybody can access, and so you would have access to the entire curriculum, not just module by module like you have right now when you have to click on each module's textbook, but you'll have access to the entire textbook in one Google site. And so, like I said, hopefully by the time you guys are finished with that course, we'll have that finished and publicly viewable to everybody. Okay, does that help? Good. Well, you guys have been an amazing group so far. And so I'm hoping everybody's enjoying the curriculum. And like I said, I am here, as Xenia can testify to that I will answer the phone and help you out. You know, if you ever have any questions, please don't hesitate.